Hello, everybody. I had a whole thing where I was going to start not in our conventional way because this is a slightly different episode, and then I started in our conventional way. But the fact that this sentence is not part of the conventional way, you know what? Fuck it. I still did it. My name's Michelle, who's here with me.
It's JD. Hi, guys.
Hi. Hi, JD. Hi, Michelle. Hi, me. This episode... Listen, I think this is going to be a really important one because not all of you who listen follow us on social media and might not be aware of some stuff going on in our lives. Some serious shit has been happening, and listen, usually I'm all about the jokes and the yucks and the LOLs. I'm all about that life, but this one...
The lulz.
The lulz. Probably going to be a little bit sadder. Here's the deal. We are going to be taking a break. Don't worry. We are not stopping forever because you cannot get rid of us. But JD, in particular, has some stuff going on. Do you want to speak on that a little bit, JD?
Yeah, I mentioned it on the Facebook and Instagram, but so and if you have been listening for a while, you're probably already aware. So my mom came to live with me just shortly after we started this podcast. Because she got a cancer diagnosis, and I lived like 3 blocks away from the clinic where she was going to be getting her treatments, and so she came to live with me, and it's been a thing over the last 3 years. It's been a hell of a fight that she's put up. Things changed pretty significantly about coming up on 2 months ago now, 6-8 weeks ago. Because the cancer is in her brain, and things can happen in your brain very quickly and very suddenly. Not just in the brain, I suppose, anywhere in the body, but things changed pretty fast and pretty severe. And just earlier this week, we got Mom admitted to hospice services and hospice care. She has decided that even if they run tests and it looks like there's some things they could do that could possibly give a little bit of benefit, she's had enough. She doesn't want to have any more surgeries. She doesn't want to go through any more chemotherapy treatments. She's just decided that she wants to be at home with her family and her friends and just be made comfortable until she's done. And that's really fucking hard in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, it's not. Because, look, here's the thing. I've even been open, obviously not directly through our social media, but, you know, if people who follow me personally, and by the way, you're welcome to do that. Anybody who listens to this show, like, if you want to know me, if you want to know, Michelle's probably a little bit more... she might want to vet you a little bit more strongly than I do.
If
but,
JD's a mutual, we'll be okay. But
yeah,
if you post
find
something
me.
shitty, you're gone.
Because I believe talking about this stuff and being as open about all the incredibly difficult things that we go through is something that we, as a species, have not done nearly enough of for our entire existence. And the more we can do that... Anyway, Look, frankly, if I was in a different state and we had the option, we would find a doctor who would help us end this. So in that sense, it's not, it's hard, but it's also not, right? I understand the choices, but, she's my mom, and it's been a heavy 3 years, and, you know, we were close, but obviously this brings people significantly closer. And I just, I need to be able to spend as much time as I can with her. They're going to be paying me to stay home. She needs to be under 24-hour observation and care. And so I don't even have to go to work, which is nice. But so we're going to set the podcast down for a little while because I don't know when something is just going to happen out of the blue. Or when things are just going to line up. And we've had, look, we all know, frankly, we've had a pretty rough year so far as keeping a schedule. And we don't want to do that anymore. We want to take a chance to just focus on lives. And obviously, I'm talking about my stuff. Michelle's going through some things too. I don't know how much she wants to share, but it's a real hard time right now. And so we need to take some time for the first time in 3.5 years and really give ourselves a chance to clear up some other things. We are coming back. This podcast, frankly, means the fucking world to me. It's one of the most important things in my life, so it'll never be gone forever. We're gonna release some older episodes. We're gonna do some re-releases of some of our favorites. We'll probably throw out the Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched just so people can hear Michelle say "Rue Morgoo."
I still get shit 3 years later.
Michelle, it was fabulous.
I know.
It was just a beautiful moment. But
Morg does not look like Morg.
Yeah.
It looks like
So,
Morgoo.
but I said to Michelle, because we were talking about Good Boy. Today is the movie that we're going to be talking about before we go on our hiatus. This is one that we wanted to see really severely, and even we had already said that we were taking a break. But I couldn't shake this one, and I said, Michelle, we got to get this episode in the can and get it out there before we go away for a little while. And so that's why we're here. Again, Michelle, I don't know if you have anything that you want to share too deeply, or yeah, I mean, please, the floor is yours.
Yes. First off, I am going to take this opportunity to try to blog during our hiatus. I have mentioned so many projects. I wrote a love letter to the Sphere in Las Vegas, and I never published it. I started a very deep breakdown of the entire Nip Tuck series after rewatching it. And
my God.
Yeah, and then I started rewatching it and realized that I was not ready for a third rewatch of Nip Tuck after devoting several months to it. So I will be taking that time. Stuff over here, not nearly as hard. Like, you win the Olympics today, but I got some stuff going on with family as well. I am also just insanely busy all the time. So if we can't set like a time in advance, it's hard for me. And then I go like, mentally, I'm kind of breaking down. I can't spontaneously do this on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. So it's going to be good.
And frankly, you guys as our friends and listeners, you deserve a little bit more consistency than that. And
100%. We were just joking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's something that we just so that's what's going on here. But we are here, and I believe once we get into the episode proper here and start talking about this movie, you're gonna understand why I said I can't sit on this for weeks. We need to talk about this one right now. So let's Michelle, you said you look, everybody's talking about the movie, all right? So I didn't know this movie existed until you told me about it. I believe it came onto your radar with South by Southwest, where it had its premiere. Is that correct?
I think it's that one, or else it was the Canadian Film Festival that I think it was either at shortly after. But I read every film synopsis that it winds up at those bigger festivals. And this one has been, it had been physically hurting me to not see this one after hearing people's reaction to it. Like, it was just like I physically cannot wait for this movie. You know what it felt like? When I was a wee child, I saw a trailer for Oliver and Company, and that's the little kitten that becomes friends with a bunch of dogs. And I started having dreams at night that I was in that universe before I even saw the movie, and it physically hurt me that I was not able to see it right away. And that's how it felt with Good Boy. I was like, I'm excited to see it, and I can't. And this was one of the biggest hypes for me. This was possibly number one on my list of movies I could not wait to come out. So much so that when the trailer dropped and everybody started like talking about constantly, and social media exploded because other people who were not aware of this film became aware of it, I never watched the trailer. I avoided even still images. I did not know what the dog looked like aside from the small glimpses of the movie poster. I ducked and dodged this because I was like, my heart cannot handle waiting. And of course, I did go on doesthedogdie.com so that I knew how much to emotionally prepare myself, but that was it. I was like, I need this spoiled so that I know whether I am walking into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, where I hyperventilated in a movie theater, or Everything Everywhere All at Once, where I sobbed for 5 minutes after the movie ended. I needed to just brace myself.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
With regard to the trailer, I also avoided it for the exact same reason. And also just trailers are so spoilery these days, right? They give away so much. I did, after I saw the movie, then I went back and watched the trailer. And if you are listening and you have seen the trailer, I can tell you, thankfully, this is one of the least problematic trailers I've seen in a long time. There are a couple of things you're gonna see that you may have gotten more of a jump out of when you actually see them in the film proper. But if you've seen the trailer, don't worry. You have not had anything significant spoiled for you at all.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know about the movie until Michelle mentioned it to me. That's how I learn about so many things these days. It's just one of the fringe benefits of getting to do this podcast with Michelle. But it's one of those ideas when you hear it, right? It's like, I don't know, for some reason I initially thought you had said it was going to be like a found footage movie, but I'm like, how could it be? What, did they attach a GoPro to the dog?
Actually, I think that was a thing that I thought about it, just because for those who might not be familiar and click this episode anyway, it is, all I knew was ghost story from the perspective of a dog.
Yeah.
And hearing that, I think maybe my brain made up, or else maybe through the rumor mill.
From the perspective,
the actual through the eyes, we are the dog, is what I thought this was, until I started seeing some stills that I was trying to avoid, but saw that that was not the case.
But when Michelle mentioned this to me, it was in one of our Michelle and Review episodes. It's one of those ideas that hits you just from out of the blue, and you're immediately just like, oh my God, how has nobody tried to do this before? What a fantastic idea. Now, also a fantastic idea, but then I was immediately like, oh, but this could also be really bad, right? Like, this is a movie, like when you have, look, let's face it, that's a gimmick, right? It's a gimmick. It's the whole movie is told from the perspective of the dog. It's a great hook. But that's one of, in addition to like, why has nobody done this before? It's like, oh, that's either, there's not going to be a lot of gray space. That's either going to be really great or it's going to be real bad. But either way, between those two things, like, I was immediately like, fuck, I need to see this movie first chance I get. And then she was like, yeah, and all the early word is that it's super awesome. And so, yeah, I certainly haven't been as excited for it as you were, but I definitely wanted to go out and see it as soon as possible, and I did. I saw it in one of the, in fact, the very first early access screening on Wednesday, October 1st here in Fargo before the, it's so dumb now. It's like they still say the movie opened on Friday, but there were screenings all day Thursday. There were early screenings on Wednesday.
Some theaters get it a week earlier, not in this case, but in some of them, it's like, oh, people in Lafayette, Wisconsin, they've been watching it for 3 weeks now.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out. But yeah, I had to see it, went and saw it. Michelle saw it a couple days later. We're here to talk about it. Michelle, you said you were going to just make up a Descrippy script, right? Because the one on IMDb is not good.
Yeah. So
I'm actually curious to see how this goes. Tell us your Descrippy script.
It's a ghost story from the perspective of the dog. Like, that's all you need to know. That is the description of the movie. Go in with just that information. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's it really is all you need to know. Like, that's another thing, is once I heard the idea, I was like, okay, that's all I, not just is it all I need, it's all I want.
Exactly.
Like, from that moment, there is nothing
Yes.
else I want. Let's see what this is about. So, Michelle.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your spoiler-free thoughts first, or should I do my spoiler-free thoughts first?
I think it's pretty clear how you feel about this, so you go ahead and go first. And then we'll see if I am as predictable as I sometimes am.
Yeah, I do my best to keep things under wraps, but sometimes a movie is, like I said, I couldn't not sit down and talk about this movie, because this movie, I'm going to try to talk about this movie on this episode in two ways, because first of all, I really do believe it is an incredible achievement just as a movie, right? As a piece of cinema. This thing with the dog could have gone so badly. It could have been so cheesy. It could have been so ridiculous. They could have tried some really dumb special effects ideas. No, what they did is they gave the movie the time and the love and the heart that it needed. And as this is a movie that, to me, should be considered for like major awards, and of course it won't be, because it's this small-time little indie horror movie. But as a film, incredible. But I'm also going to talk about this film as an experience, because, and this is part of it, that it resonated with me. It's not going to resonate on this level with everybody, but it's something that I want, because it's, in a lot of ways, it's why we do this podcast, is because we love movies, because every now and then, even if it doesn't happen for everybody who sees it, you see one that finds you exactly when you need it. And that's an incredible thing. That's why we love movies, right? Because they can get you to that place. And I'm going to try real hard not to cry. And I'm going to try real hard not to make Michelle cry. I can see in her face already that she's having a little bit of a struggle, and so am I.
I was preparing some jokes to bring it back up. I was mentally preparing.
We'll do that part at the end, because I want to sing this movie. This clearly, if I could give this movie 6 skulls, I would give it 6 skulls. I said earlier this year that it's going to take something incredibly special and incredibly good and unique to outdo Sinners as my number one movie of the year. This is going to be, the hard thing is they're so completely different, right? They're so completely different films. But if we're talking specifically about my favorite movie, the one that has impacted me the most, the one that I sat there and just was in awe and also just touched me in my heart, this is the best movie I've seen all year. It's so fucking good. Michelle, spoiler-free thoughts.
That dog is cute as fuck.
That's
the first thing.
Yeah,
that is the perfect dog. That is what every dog should be. I know we got a lot of different breeds. You and I, we got little dogs. My dog is 15 pounds and a little frou-frou girl who loves to roll around in the mud despite her white hair. And Indy is better than my dog. The dog in this film is so great. And I mean that as the real dog Indy, because Indy also plays Indy in the film. So first off, that dog, real great. A huge part of my life right now is volunteering for a rescue because it is fundraising season. And so dogs just really, I'm predictable. I like dogs. So I knew no matter what, I was going to like this dog. Whether I liked the movie, that was the part that was a little more up in the air. Because I made a comparison that I have since heard many people make, even people in like IMDb reviews, and I would like to think that somehow they heard the idea from me first, even if their review came out before I ever saw the film. But this had the potential to be another Skinamarink, where it is something unique and different and artsy and not good. There was definitely a potential for this to be so strange and so divisive. The little bit that I did see, where I saw stills of this actual dog and knew that it was not going to be from, like, We Are Not the Camera as the eyes of the dog, that both disheartened and excited me, because I was like, okay, it's still a movie in the sense of what we think movies are, but also, like, could have been cool the other way. I'm glad we didn't do it that way. This movie, it's hard to put into words, but here's what I will say to start with. This is an absolute marvel. Ben Leonberg.
You're so coy, Michelle.
I know. Ben Leonberg, writer-director. This is his first full-length movie, and I feel convinced we have an Ari Aster on our hands, where I plan on going back to watch a lot of his stuff. He has a lot of virtual reality films, which if you might have heard me talk about in this podcast, how I can't wait until virtual reality movies are a very widespread phenomenon, and learning that this man has VR videos, like, holy shit, I'm gonna put on a headset and I'm gonna escape into whatever weird place he wants me to go. But aside from that, he teaches directing. He is an MFA from Columbia University and now teaches in Montana. And I've always heard like the phrase, those who can't teach. But in Ben Leonberg's case, he can do both. He can both make and create. This movie was a testament to his patience that I would never have. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the actual spoilers, but like, sure, it's about a dog. And sure, I'm going to like a movie about a dog. Usually. I mean, Milo and Otis, I will never watch again. There's a possibility, like Homeward Bound. Oh.
Just quick side note, we'll talk about it after the recording. I found some information that suggests what we think we may have known about Milo and Otis might in fact not be true.
Oh, thank God. Okay, we'll talk about that later.
I haven't been able to watch that movie in so long. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I never plan on watching it again, just in case, because it does remind me that people abuse animals. So even if those animals were okay, it does remind me of things I deal with. And
That's
I can't.
fair.
I can't. People
Gonna
will
take a
chuck
walk
cats into rivers.
outside today.
Anyway,
gonna see what we can find today.
Yep. And then, quick disclaimer that I've only cried on this podcast once, and it was describing the dog scene from I Am Legend. So I swear to God, JD, I better not cry twice and have both of them be accredited to dog films or dog moments. I will be furious.
Why?
Because it's too on brand, and that's upsetting.
What do you? Why is that upsetting? I think the only thing that makes me I can watch disgusting, gory eviscerations, the most sadistic, twisted body horror. I can watch realistic, hardcore, like, violence and sexual assault and all this stuff. I can't watch the puppy get hurt. That's a character trait, Michelle. That's a beautiful thing.
Sure. I cry to ASPCA commercials. Oh my God, There's a new one that's even sadder than the Sarah McLachlan one. And I swear to God, if I ever get that on my Facebook ads again, I'm flipping a table. It's worse. It's so much worse. It's like, this dog got to go home and is loving their new family. And then it cuts to all these dogs in cages. And it's like, these dogs wish they had families.
Oh, God.
Made me physically ill.
I can't do it.
Anyway, my review of this film, I should just finish. Of course, it's 5 skulls. It is 5 paws. And as much as I hate it, I am elated to say that it is not just because it is a dog movie, but because I have always said that I will appreciate a movie that does something different. This is why I spent 3 goddamn years defending Skinamarink and The Outwaters and all these other weird movies where people are like, I never want to see that again. And I'm like, but it was different. Skinamarink was different. And maybe there are other things that are going to come after it, and some won't be good and some won't be enjoyed by most. Most of them probably won't be enjoyed by even some, possibly. But like, it showed me something different, and Good Boy showed me something different, and it showed me that in a way that is beautiful and thought-provoking, and it had this message that I did not expect to come from it, and it is my favorite movie of the year. As much as I hate that, as much as I wish I could say I did not like the puppy movie, I like the puppy movie. It's a good movie.
That is the one thing about it, is because look, here's the thing about it. One of the things I also love is it's a cute puppy movie, right? Like, so it's that's the kind of thing that's always going to unfortunately hang over this movie, is I guarantee you it will have its critics, as I'm sure it already does, who are just like, oh, people just love it because it's about a dog, and they're all just like, oh, it's a cute puppy movie. But that's the thing, is it's not just that, right? It's a good fucking film. And we'll talk about, like, a lot of the, like, this is a piece of craft that is just fucking unreal. By the way, if you are going to see it theatrically, stay all the way to the end of the credits. There is content after the credits. Don't leave the theater. And why would
not
you?
Not even just like a tiny, it's not like a
no,
tiny
it's a
bit.
thing.
And the credits
yeah.
are like 30 seconds.
Well, and the movie is 73 minutes long, right? When I saw this on the early access screening, there were only 2 trailers, and then they did little Greg Marcus Aziz Ansari bit that I wish I'd never had to see Aziz Ansari's face ever again. But it really bums me out that Keanu Reeves is doing a movie with that guy. But
maybe we don't talk about that and stick to the puppy movie.
Yeah, that's fair. But the whole
this
program...
This episode needs as many good vibes as it can
The whole program, 2 trailers, the Greg Marcus thing, the entire film, and the little bit at the end of the credits was 90 minutes. The entire program. What a beautiful thing. This movie is not a stitch longer than it needs to be. I would say it's also not a stitch shorter than it should be. This movie is a perfect length. It is. We'll talk about it. This is a marvel of craftsmanship. Double 5s all the way.
Before we get into spoilers, I can tell you a really big criticism that I have of the film, because I feel like there's not going to be a lot, and I would like to say one, it is spoiler free. But here's the thing.
Not enough puppies?
Oh my god. Imagine if Indy, the movie puppy, if he had puppies. If it was like him with his son trotting around. Anyway, here's a big criticism I have. Another thing that will hang over the head of this movie. And that is Indy the dog sending a letter to the Academy asking to be considered for Best Actor.
That's hilarious.
But here's the thing. The goddamn letter says, I have been deemed ineligible for the Best Actor category. Apparently, I am not a good enough boy for you. Hey, Ben Leonberg, go fuck yourself. Because that is unfair. Because obviously, Indy would win. How dare you? How dare you make it sound like Indy feels sad about this? How dare you project the emotions, just as we have learned that you're very good at doing from this goddamn film? Stop it. Don't make me think that Indy is sad about that. How dare you? It should be like written from Ben Leonberg. My dog was deemed eligible. He's not a good... Like, fine. Guilt me about your dog. Don't try to tell me Indy's sad. How dare you?
Here's what's interesting about that to me is you interpreted that as Indy being sad, and I interpreted it as Indy being a sarcastic, snide little jerk. Or not a jerk, but just like, oh, apparently I'm not a good enough boy for you guys. You know, that's the tone I heard it in.
Indy's personality matches JD from 2013. That's exactly what we need.
No.
I'm not a good enough boy.
Apparently, I'm not a good enough boy.
See? Is that not 2013, JD?
Shut up.
That's 2008 Michelle, for sure.
Shut up, Michelle.
I was a passive-aggressive person when I learned about Facebook. Michelle is on Facebook because she doesn't have any friends. Do you remember when your statuses were like, Michelle is blah? Yours probably was never Michelle is. Yours was probably, JD is. But
you're probably right.
Michelle is mad that she likes the puppy movie so much.
Oh, yeah. We wrote all of our statuses in third person because of the way it posted them. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, sometimes I look back on who I was as a person and I cringe. And then I realize that 10 years from now, I might look back at this exact moment and cringe. And then I just have anxiety about that, where I'm like, man, you were such a loser 10 years ago. You're probably still a loser. And you're going to look back and be like, you have 10 to 20 years of experience being a loser. It's real sad. Anyway, the dog movie, should we get into it?
You're a better loser today than you were yesterday.
I am concerned that is not true. That I am evolving. I fear
De-Evolving is a Justin Colton song, or Jonathan Colton song, and it's pretty good.
How dare you? Justin Colton is his cousin.
De-Evolving. Anyway, let's get into spoilers. By the way, don't let us fucking spoil this movie for you, you crazy assholes. Go see it before you listen to the rest of this. I just realized we're a half hour into this episode and we're just now getting to spoilers because we've been talking about how fucking incredible this movie is. All right, let's do it, Michelle. Uh-huh. I realize I say this a lot, but for this one especially, I have been waiting for this. Michelle, please, before we do our chats up, summarize this movie for us.
Yes. So, this one's going to be interesting. It's been a week since I saw the movie. There's very little dialogue in this. I think I'm going to sum it up to a dangerous degree, to the point where I completely missed the point. So there's a dog. We open the dog movie with a dog. Thank God. Hey, God is dog backwards. Thank dog. Anyway.
Yes, thank dog.
Yeah, it's a doggone good movie. Oh man, I volunteer for a rescue. I could throw so many puns into this. You have no idea. But don't worry, you're barking up the wrong tree. Sorry, I'll try to pause it for a second. While I just woofed this movie so much. Okay, so I'm sorry, JD, throw me a bone. I'm trying, okay? It's just really hard to fetch the right words. Okay, so this dog. The ghost movie about a dog opens with a dog, and we're like, thank God that we are not seeing this movie from the eyes of the dog. That's basically how I start this off with. And then we start seeing the dog look at stuff, and we're like, whoa, that dog's looking around. That's cool. Dogs do that. And then we see this guy sitting behind him in what is a very creepy shot, and does not the rest of the movie does not add up to what that shot is at the beginning, but we just see like the silhouette of a man hunched down, and his phone is going off and he's not answering it, which, I mean, if you're not going to answer your phone, at least silence it so you know something's wrong. Like, very few people will actively listen to a ringtone. I sometimes do, because mine is the People's Court theme song, and sometimes I just let it ring and then I call the person back, because sometimes you want to be reminded that there's justice in the world, and it comes in the form of Marilyn Million. So his phone's ringing, and then we see that he is bleeding onto his phone, and then this woman walks in and she's like, why aren't you answering the phone? I'm your sister, blah blah blah. Oh no. And then she calls 911 in what is a not very convincing way. I must say that sometimes it's a little too obvious the way that the dialogue goes, where it's like, hello 911, my brother is dying, and it's like, oh, we just learned a lot in that 2 seconds of dialogue. But we didn't see her face. We barely saw his face. And now we're learning that we're not going to see a lot of faces unless they're indies, because dogs don't look at the face that often. They look at the torso, and they don't make eye contact with you because they want you to know that they are above you. And to look directly in your eyes would be to show you a kindness that they refuse to. Dogs know that they are better than the rest of us, and you are not worthy of eye contact. Fun fact, dogs are one of the few animals that have evolved eyebrows to become more expressive and easily communicate with humans. They didn't used to have eyebrows. They have somehow developed that muscle so that they can show us when they're judging us, despite them being the one that poops on the lawn and I don't. So really, who's the superior breed here, Ellie? Okay, so whole bunch of stuff. This guy, he's dying from something. That's real sad. And then he goes to a creepy cabin, and he's like, this was my grandpa's cabin. And Indy doesn't want to get out, because Indy's freaked out, because he's like, this cabin looks bad. But the dog does not talk. Don't worry. Indy is not a talking dog. Indy is a realistic dog, but you know what he's saying with his face. And
you know...
Like, yeah.
I'm sorry. I was real nervous for a minute that they were going to do something where the dog had some sort of inner monologue. I'm so glad they didn't do that. I'm sorry.
I'm so glad they didn't do a lot of things that they could have with this movie. So now they're at the cabin, and Indy, hears things that if this was just a human ghost story movie, you'd be like, oh, that's weird and a little too obvious that this place is haunted and it's strange and you should probably leave. Indy can't leave. He doesn't have a driver's license and he hears stuff because dogs hear things differently than humans do. That's why when you tell them not to eat paper, they do it anyway, and they tear up your cross-stitch pattern, and you have to sit there and diligently tape it all back together because you were so close to having this wolf cross-stitch done, and you worked on it for months, and then your dog ate the part that you were working on, and you cry a little bit out of frustration. Anyway, where was I? Indy, he hears things differently. So basically now he's just exploring the house in like a really cool way where like he's always in the center of the shot, and they like frame him real nicely, and they use this wide-eyed lens so that the room looks big and foreboding and has all these dark corners at all times, and he's just basically doing the thing that humans do where they walk around a creepy house and you're like, please don't walk around the creepy house, this is a bad idea. But Indy's a dog and he does what he wants, okay, so fuck off. Eventually we learn a couple things. The grandpa used to live here. Grandpa died in this house. Grandpa had many dogs. I was very worried at the beginning of the film, to the point where I turned to my husband and went, oh no, really quietly in the theater, because it was only me and a couple of friends, and so we were able to make remarks without annoying each other. But I turned to him and went, oh no, because I thought what this movie was going to be about is that the grandpa killed a lot of fucking dogs, like just tortured them, that the basement was full of dead dogs, and these ghosts were all these abused dogs, and that this film was going to wreck me. I was very concerned, and I was very happy I was by the door, because I was ready. Like, if it got too real, I'm out. The dog cannot make me sit there. That's not fucking happening. If you do a rocket raccoon, I'm out. I will watch it at home when I can desensitize myself a little bit by playing Sudoku on my phone, which is my go-to. Turn the emotions off, use the logical side of you, figure out what numbers go in the box. It's a real good time. So the grandpa lived there. The grandpa died. The grandpa had a dog, the dog that Indy's now seeing. And you can tell it's a different dog because it has a different bandana, which, thank God, because they look similar. Like, dogs, you know, by the end I'd be like, yeah, that's Indy. I can tell that one's Indy. But when they're both kind of like brown furred dogs, I mean, I don't want to sound racist, but they kind of all look alike. Don't they?
Well, yeah, they're both. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're both golden retrievers.
Yeah, because golden retrievers are very good. And yes, by the way, that is one of my other pet peeves. Pet peeves. Is the fact that nobody mentions the other dog in this film. Indy did a great job. The other dog doesn't even have an IMDb page.
What are you talking? The other dog's name is Max. They talk. The guy in the woods tells him is like, yeah,
yes, I'm talking about the actor. The dog actor.
Really? Because I don't remember his name, but I saw him in the credits today when I was there the second time. Anyway, I'm sorry.
He doesn't have an IMDb page.
I believe you.
Upsetting.
I believe you, Michelle.
It's bullshit. Like, I feel bad for that other dog, and I would like.
Well, I mean, okay, so he doesn't have a page, but I'm looking at it, and it does name him. It says Max Bandit.
Yep. But he needs an IMDb page. Why does Indy get to get all the fame?
He does have a page. I just went to it.
He doesn't have an image, and that's also bullshit. Listen, I'm going to find a way to let... If you go to Max's page, you know how it tells you, like, junior, senior. His says CCLXIV. I don't even know.
Yes, it does. I think that just means that he's that, whatever that translates to in Roman numerals, I think it's like he's that... number of, like, he's that number max on their list. There are like a couple hundred Maxes.
No, I like to think of it as he is a long descendant of Max. His great-great-great-great-great-grandfather belonged to Jesus. Okay, so there's another dog, and the dog, by the way, I totally thought the dog was a lady. I didn't mean to project my own gender stereotypes onto the dog, but to learn that the dog is Max/Bandit, when that sounds like a boy name, wow, that blew my mind for a second. Maybe it's non-binary, who knows? Anyway, Indy's wandering around, sees this dog, is like, well, it's a ghost dog. And then slowly his owner is getting sicker and sicker and not doing very well, and he's being a straight up jerk to Indy, and I did not like it. And he's like pushing him off the bed, which I know that this was filmed with a real dog. How'd you do that without making your dog sad? That part, I saw Indy get shoved, and I'm gonna shove Ben Leonberg in return, because that how do you tell your dog we're just acting? I still love you. Like, he better have gotten a lot of treats. So he's being a straight up jerk and puts him in a doghouse, and now this entity is coming after Indy and he can't go anywhere, and it's really sad, and it's the most upsetting part of the film because you see a silhouette in the background of him getting actually hurt by this demon, and I'm glad that they did it so far away so that you could be a little bit removed but still understand the gravity of the situation. This is some of the genius behind this goddamn film, but I also hate that scene. And so essentially what winds up happening is that Indy's owner, he takes a real big breath in bed, and then he lets the real big breath out. And then there's a real long pause. But don't worry, he's breathing again. Everything's fine. And he gets up and he's like, oh, Indy, I'm so glad that we are hanging out and everything is good. And then he looks back and he sees his own body. He has left his dead body behind, and now he's a spirit. And oh no, he's getting yoinked into the basement. Not a yoinking. So he gets yoinked down there, and Indy goes to rescue him. And what is a very tense moment, because we are just watching from the cave entrance, and I want to know what happened in there, but I also don't, because I have a feeling something punched Indy in the face, and I wouldn't be able to handle it. So I'm glad that we don't see any of that. And then he's dragging his muddy owner out, and now he's the weird mud creature, and he says the devastating line from this film, and I'm so glad they did not say good boy, but he says, you're a good dog, but you can't save me. And then he goes away, and then Indy sits in the basement for a long time, and I'm like, god damn it, if this dog is stuck in this basement and this is how it ends. But luckily Indy's owner's sister shows up, and she's like, come on Indy, let's go. And he's just like staring upstairs like he should go, but he's staring back where his owner is, and that takes a very long time. And then he trots up the stairs and the movie ends, and I am devastated. Good boy. And then we get a featurette about the behind the scenes, and thank God, because they needed a palate cleanser.
Yeah, at the end of the credits, it's not a post-credits like stinger scene. It's actually like a little featurette telling you about how they filmed the movie, some of the effects in it, that sort of thing, that just various techniques that they use. It's really interesting, little behind the scenes. This movie, Michelle, fucking broke me. That line, oh my, well, okay, we'll get to that part later. I want to talk about this movie as a fucking movie, because like they did, because God, so many different things I want to mention that I don't even know where to start, and I'm all jumbled. Like the craft of this movie is so incredible, just genius. You know, all the low angle shots, so we're seeing everything, you know, at dog level. What I love about the faces, by the way, is that not only is it what it does is it forces us to even more identify with the dog. Yep. Because the dog Indy is our only emotional point of entry to the film. And so that is just really genius, putting it in that situation where like we hear the voices and we know what's being said, but we don't really, the focus is the dog. And yeah, using a dog immediately comes with built-in pathos, right? There's immediately a level of sympathy there from a certain, like, I imagine there are some people who just are somehow managed to live their life without giving a shit about dogs. I don't know how, but it just, the way it presents that, it does little things that I'm glad I got to see this twice. I just watched it again today because there are little things along the way that it's like, oh, like there's that moment early on in the movie where Todd leaves. He gives Indy the bowl of food, and then he leaves, telling him he's got to go for a little while. And of course, we learn through just inference that This is a day that he's gone to get some lab work done at the hospital because he comes back and he's got that bandage on his arm and shit. And there's the whole, like, we see the text message where from Vera where it's like, it came back, didn't it? And all this stuff. But the first time I saw it, because as soon as he's out the door, Indy starts freaking out, right? And so the first time I saw it, my impression of that scene was Indy doesn't want to be left alone in this spooky house. And then watching it the second time, you realize, no, Indy doesn't want Todd to go away because if Todd's not there, he can't keep an eye on him. Right? Like he's freaking out because now Todd is just completely at the mercy of whatever this thing is. Another thing I didn't catch the first time around, that opening sequence, like that's when Todd first finds out that he has whatever this is, very much seems like some kind of cancer, especially from the It Came Back reference, which definitely immediately put me in an interesting headspace. But in those early scenes, you can see that Indy is already noticing that something is going on. And so it ultimately becomes like the black figure is not a ghost. The black figure is death coming for Todd, and Indy can see it. And like just the way this builds. Fuck, you probably have way more cohesive thoughts and ideas on this than I do. I just wanted to thought vomit for a minute. Please give us some direction here.
Thought vomit. Vomit. That's a new word. Vomit. Okay. First off, let the record show I did not cry during this movie, and I'm very proud of myself.
Oh, I fucking wept like a child, but we'll talk about it.
I did not cry. I think I kept expecting the movie to hurt me so much that it couldn't hurt me. So I never cried. I teared up a little bit during the featurette because I just thought it was very sweet. When Todd goes away for a long time and Indy is just sitting there from the day to the night made me real sad. So then I hyper fixated on like, what can I do to remind myself that this is a movie? And from that point forward, we never see Indy get let out to go potty. You mean that Todd was gone the whole day? I saw no doggy doors. It is definitely like, I don't see a doggy door in that house. He didn't come home and immediately let Indy out. My dog, Ellie, love her to pieces. If I get home, she's gonna judge the hell out of me if I even take long enough to take my shoes off. But he never takes Indy outside. And is Indy just like peeing in the house? Like what's going on there? So that's what I fixate on for the second half of this movie because I couldn't handle the potential heartbreak.
I would like to point out that he takes Indy outside all the fucking time in this movie.
Not when he gets home.
They're
after
out in
that
the woods. Okay,
no, he comes home. He goes upstairs. He tells Indy not now, and he goes to sleep without letting Indy out. Like, let's say this house isn't haunted. Your dog has to go potty. That's what he's whining about.
There is that moment where I think it's when he finds the bandana and he's having the crazy vision of... by the way, I had it backwards. Max is the actor dog and the character's name is Bandit. So it's Bandit's bandana. But he pees on the carpet a little bit. Maybe that's... I don't even remember when that happens. But
it's
anyway...
the chair. When he gets the vision of the grandpa.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Makes me real sad.
Look, Michelle, you're really going to knock this movie because they you didn't see the dog pee?
It's unrealistic, and it brought me out of the immersion.
Michelle, do you... Like, when was the last time you saw any movie at all where anybody in the movie who should be peeing is always shown peeing?
Bridesmaids. They're shitting in the street, but still.
Okay, so that's one.
I'm just picking things, right? And it's not an actual I can never tell with you.
I do. That's one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite things about doing that.
Oh, I thought one of your favorite things was that the dog never goes potty. Indy's so perfect, he doesn't even poop. He doesn't have a digestive tract. He recycles the nutrients and then vomits them in a little energy-efficient cube that can be used to heat houses for the winter.
That and a cube like wombat style even.
Yes, except out of the mouth because he does not have a butthole.
I don't remember what the explanation was, but I read an article one time where it's like scientists have finally figured out why wombat poop is cubes. And it has something to do with the way the muscles in their colon contract or some... I almost said some shit like that.
Here's a thing. Another criticism pooping related. Actually, not a criticism. Actually,
You never
this
see
is a good
Todd
thing.
poop either.
Does he not have to go potty? Did he go potty before he came home? I'm really happy that Indy is a dog where when we get those shots from behind, I ain't staring at a butthole. That's just a real nice detail. Thank you for not... Like, this could have... If this movie had been a pug, it would have been a very different movie.
Speaking of that, by the way, that's another bit of the craftsmanship of this that I would you give me an opportunity to praise before we move on to your next cogent
The
point.
lack of
with
buttholes is a great point of praise.
So they had 400 shooting days on this movie, right? 400 shooting days over, I believe he said 3 years.
Correct.
In production.
In 1 to 3 hour increments.
The consistency of look, like at no point whatsoever do I have a moment where I'm just like, oh wait, no, it was like that. You know, you've seen like those shitty B movies from like the early '80s where like we watched Winter Beast and like half the time the guy's got a mustache and the other half he doesn't, and all this. Like the consistency, the attention to detail of that, like, and just that painstaking process. Because this is like, okay, it is kind of kitschy. Look, the dog is obviously trained, right? But he's not like movie trained, right? He like he'll sit. He's been taught sit and stay and come here and that sort of thing. But one of the big things, like you said, that he hasn't been trained for is being on a fucking movie set for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. And just that passion and that commitment to just this incredible labor of love. And is basically just him and his wife and the dog for like 90% of it. The craft of this is incredible. Give us another cogent point, Michelle.
Yes.
Salient observations and analysis.
Analysis. Anal buttholes. Back to that point. No. Okay, so...
Anal ISIS.
That's a completely different terrorist group.
Yes, it is! Oh my god!
Very different. So enough about ISIS. I was gonna throw in a quip, but then you kept going about other garbage movies that took a long time to create, like Mad God was what I was gonna reference. Just those garbage movies that nobody enjoys that took a very long time. Oh no, JD's gonna like literal spit take. At this point, I'm just postponing the inevitable crying that at least you will do. But I do have a sad idea, and here's my way of incorporating sadness into this. Do you think that there is a filmmaker out there like Ben Leonberg who set out to make a movie about their dog and they were several years into it and the dog fucking died? Like,
Michelle, I don't want to think about that.
If you're going to make everybody sad, I'm going to make everybody sad. Like, imagine. Here's the thing. In my entire life, I have only cried at the death of one celebrity. Because I don't know them, and I'm like, that's sad, but Robin Williams got me pretty badly for a variety of reasons. When Indy dies, which will happen, because it comes for all of us, hopefully I die first. That's all I can hope for. But if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be a goddamn wreck. And according to Indy's IMDb page, his first movie was in 2008. which can't be right because that would be a 17-year-old dog. So hopefully that's a lie. Hopefully Indy is one of many Indies, just like how like you keep replacing your kids' pets so that you don't have to teach them about death. And you're like, no, that's the same hamster that you've always had. And I don't know how the markings changed. Sometimes they just do that. You know, you guys had a good childhood and weren't lied to about hamsters. But like here's the thing, just never tell me if Indy dies. Just get a different dog. I'll believe you. I'll go along with it. I can't handle it.
Speaking of the dog dying, like that obviously was like when they dropped the trailer and the trailer kind of went viral, like searches for does the dog die in Good Boy like went through the fucking roof. I've told a bunch of people about the movie, and that is the single most common immediate question I get is, does the dog die? Obviously, we're hearing the spoilers. You know at this point that no. But what I loved about this, another thing that I thought was really solid storytelling is, no, Indy doesn't die, but Bandit does. And like Bandit is a ghost. Like there is ghost dog here. And dies, as they say, you know, it's like we found your grandpa's body and just nobody ever found the dog, right? The dog just disappeared. And when we do see him, like the dog's body has desiccated severely. And I don't know if you guys know a wonderful animated TV show called Futurama. But there's an episode of Futurama called Jurassic Park. I'm just mentioning the name. But like, just the immediate implication of that, especially once you've seen the movie and there's that moment where Indy kind of sits there for a minute and he hears the whistling from the cave that of course is not actually there. Or maybe he can see it, but the dogs can see it, people can't, right? So the moment where you understand that what happened is Bandit just sat down there waiting for Grandpa to come back until he died. Like, it's so fucking heavy. But, and so they managed to get that, Michelle, I'm sorry.
That thought had not crossed my brain, and I have decided, no, that's not how it happened. Because, are you telling me, like, Grandpa died and nobody came to check on him? No, Bandit got into some chocolate, and he died there peacefully.
Fair. Yeah. Well,
if I had not considered a sad version of that, aside from, you know, just dog dying and sadness.
That was the immediate thought. Because you hear the dog barking. And like when they first arrive at the house, Indy hears a dog barking through the cellar door, and then there's the dog ghost, right? So we know wherever the dog is dead, because it's a ghost dog. And that was the very first thing I thought when the doors flew open and there's the desiccated dog's body at the bottom and it's got the bandana around it. That was my immediate, just like, oh, this dog just sat there waiting for this guy who never came back. It's fucking heavy. And that's just the beginning of the heavy. Like, it's fuck, man.
The movie does a great job of not explaining shit. I don't fully understand things.
Well, I don't know that I would say...
Let me finish.
Fair.
One of the big things that happens that I clung to throughout the movie preparing myself is that they said that Grandpa had a lot of dogs that ran away and never came back, and we never go anywhere with that. Like, was he just abusive and they left? Because that was part of why I was like, why is Bandit, like, did he lock Bandit in there to, like, starve to death? I feel like there's a lot going on there with, like, this Grandpa was really terrible to dogs is the implication. And
well, that's interesting because I didn't get that from it at all.
I totally got that. Because they make the comment of Grandpa had a lot of dogs and they all ran away, didn't they? And they're having that conversation. So I was like, fuck, this is going to be like a lot of murdered dogs.
Well, maybe they all got scared and ran away and Bandit's the only one who was courageous enough to stay.
That was another thing that I was wondering. But also, like, generally ghosts hang out. Traditionally, in most horror movies, a ghost is there because something traumatic happened. And, like, what traumatic thing happened to Bandit to cause them to cling to this house and never leave? And being abused and murdered by Grandpa would be a thing that would cause a ghost dog.
Well, okay, so we know, and Indy knows when Todd gets dragged into the... Well, maybe Indy doesn't know, but we know that when Todd gets dragged into the cave in the basement, he's already dead. Because we've seen the corpse, right? Mm-hmm. What if Bandit didn't know the guy was dead somewhere else? What if Bandit just saw this crazy, like, burnt body, weird, black, drippy monster thing drag his owner Grandpa into a fucking weird cave in the basement? Like, maybe that's the trauma that he experienced. And then he just sat there until he died.
No.
Oh, you're not gonna accept that as a possibility?
No, he ate some chocolate, but it's okay. He got a little drowsy and he just laid down and took a little snooze that lasted the rest of his life.
But, no, I did really, I kind of appreciated that because, they said, like, it was their way of saying, no, we're not gonna make you deal with the death of your emotional gateway into the movie. But we are going to play that card. Like, we're going to go to a couple of places that are going to be really fucking heavy. And it gets real emotional real fast.
Do we need to go to that part of it?
A couple other things that I did want to talk about, just like with relation, again, to the craft of the movie. The sound in this is phenomenal. The way the voices just kind of fade in and out as people walk in and out of rooms because the dog is, they're talking to it, but are they really talking to the dog? God, fuck, there was a couple of other points that I was going to make and now I can't remember what they were, but, so I guess, I suppose, like, so again, I went to see the movie again the first time I saw it. So I'm watching it and I'm just like, okay, and this is why I say that the movie just this is why I fucking love movies, and it's because I'm gonna try real hard to get through this.
I'm already disassociating. I do not handle emotions well, so I'm trying.
I'm sitting in the theater. I saw this movie. Mom hasn't made we haven't made the final decision to go on hospice care yet, but we've been in the thick of some really hard shit for a while. And going to see this movie was the first break I had had from anything in a while. And so I went to see it, and just immediately when they start dealing with, like, like I said, this guy's got something wrong with his health. He comes out of the hospital, and then there's that text that says, it came back, didn't it? And that immediately, of course, because of where I've been and where I am, like, it just immediately evokes cancer, right? Like that's the thing that comes back. And there are other things, of course, but, like, at least to me, that was, and again, because of where I am. So now I'm in that headspace, and I'm thinking about it. I don't really want to be thinking about it. That's why I came to watch this movie. And I'm watching, and thankfully for a lot of the movie, again, it's so fucking well done. And such a great movie that I was able to disconnect again, and just watch the movie. And enjoy it, even right up to where like oh shit, like I also, when you realize that the guy is dead, you see him and then you see the corpse behind him. Watching it the second time, it's very subtle, but it's right before that he actually dies, right? Is he's breathing very slowly and laboredly. There's a breath, and then there are a bunch of candles in the room. And I think the first time I saw it, I assumed it had something to do with like the evil presence blotting out the candles, but I think the candles represent him dying, right? Like that's the moment, because that's when he gets out of bed, and he never got out of that bed. So again, just little small things. Before I, so it was, so I'm just watching this movie, and I'm in it, and there's this sort of very actiony thing where the dog is trying to catch up, and Todd's getting pulled down into the basement, and it's like, what's going on? What's going on? The dog, and like, and he pulls the dog out of that cave. And he says, "You're a good boy. You're a good dog, but you can't save me." And I fell apart because, like, that's where I am. Right? Like, that's my life right now. And it's so, like, it was a lot, but it wasn't a lot in a bad way. Just, it's very cathartic. Because there's still a lot of hard ahead, but I needed to hear that, and that's why, like, that's why we do this, why anybody makes anything, is to say, I'm here and you're here, and neither one of us is alone. And it just it wrecked me in the best possible way. Like, even more so than Life of Chuck did. And Life of Chuck fucked me up. But, yeah, it was just, it was one of those moments where, again, this is a big part of why it's my favorite movie, right? Because I had such a personal, immediate, emotional reaction to it. And I obviously can't expect, like, I imagine there are very few people. Well, I shouldn't even say very few people, but I imagine not the majority of people who had that same experience because of the context I went into this at. But again, that's the thing. I think most of us have our little specific things where it's just something that found you and you found it at the exact moment you needed it. And so for me, like, the fact that then on top of that, it's this fantastic film, this beautiful, just, again, labor of love, not just for, it's labor of love for this dog, and for movies, and for great stories. It's a movie that will be, like, that experience will be with me for the rest of my life. And I will watch this movie over and over and over, and I will show it to as many people as I can, just on the off chance, because, look, here's the thing. I am not unique, right? People all over the world are going through exactly what I'm going through. And if there's even one moment, and like even now, a week removed from it, there's a part of me that's becoming self-conscious, and it's just like, oh, how very sort of saccharine and obvious and cliche. Because it's not like it's a deep thought or original thought, but it hit me in the right way at the right time, and I can't say enough for how therapeutic an experience this movie was for me. And because of that, it's not even fair to any, like, I had the same kind of severe emotional reaction to this movie that I had to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, this movie fucking broke me again in the most beautiful way. But yeah, so that was my thing, Michelle. I know it's a lot. I'm sorry. I put a lot of pressure on things, but that's also why we're taking a break for a while, is because, like, that's the level of heavy shit that I'm dealing with. But it's why, again, because it's such a fantastic fucking movie, but also just like that's an experience that I think anybody listening to this, because look, nobody's casually listening to a couple of fucking dopes from Fargo Moorhead talking about horror movies. People who listen to this podcast are people who love movies, right? They're into it, and they're, you know, and they like the same kind of movies that we like. And this was just one of those moments. Like, I can count on one hand the number of times I've had that level of a connected experience to a movie. And so I just wanted a chance to get it on the record and just get it out there into the world. Because, by the way, let's get out of this emotional bit here with this transition. Watch how I do this. Have you seen the fucking box office numbers for this movie? It is killing it. Absolute. I was so happy. Because, you know, there was all that buzz about the trailer and everything. As of today, or as of yesterday, it's made just shy of $4 million. And I guess it is the number 3 theatrical release from the IFC/Shudder pairing, behind In a Violent Nature and Late Night with the Devil, but ahead of When Evil Lurks and Oddity. Those are the ones that make it. So, but yeah, it's like the number 3 theatrical release they've ever had. It was a top 10 film its opening weekend. I think it was either 8 or 9, but it was a top 10 film, and it continues. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was only scheduled to play here in Fargo for a week, and they immediately added another week onto it. I love that this movie is getting the level of attention it is.
I have been practicing how to make other people feel better when they're going through heavy emotions, because surprisingly, I've had a lot of friends who have had very similar parent things that you do, and I always just feel very useless. Apparently, it's just the thing for 2025. This is the fad, is that all my friends have bad parental things happening that we won't get into because I don't want to talk about other people's stuff. So I've been getting better at empathetic listening, but what I have not practiced is what to do when the listening part ends and now it's my turn to talk.
I know, right?
That's the hard part.
Well,
I could talk about buttholes some more.
That is why I wanted to do that at the very end, is because it's like, well, let's do that up front, and then it's like, oh, all right, now let's talk about the movie. Right?
Yes.
No, it's
So right before we started recording, I did show you that I had a gigantic sandwich sitting beside me, and I had told you it was
I'm
so
very
that
jealous.
I could eat during the parts where you monologued, and just imagine that, like, I stuck
Michelle,
true.
if I had been sitting here and I saw that fucking sandwich come up, look, I'm gonna tell you, I would have, it would have been exactly, it would have been the funniest fucking thing you possibly could have done in that moment.
Tempted.
Like, here's what I will say. It would have been a perfect way to try and counteract yourself getting overly emotional. If I feel like I'm going to cry, I'm going to take a bite out of my sandwich.
It was very tempting.
You gotta keep that trick in your back pocket. And the next time we have one that we think could get emotional, bring a sandwich and don't tell me.
Next time I'm at a funeral, just like pull one out of my pocket. Like, I don't want to cope with this. Just munching on a Quick Trip sandwich.
Somebody's up at the podium speaking at a funeral, talking about their terrible experience. You just from the pew out in for like row 3, you just pull out a fucking
Subway foot long. Oh my god. Somebody's up there being like, he was such a good guy. He was loved by the community. He left a good legacy. You hear crunch.
Made
Crunch.
a damn
People
good
look
hoagie.
at me. They're like, what are you doing? And I'm just like eating cheddar and sour cream chips. I'm like, what? I wasn't going to have just a sandwich. It could have been very funny, but it could have also been really bad if I started eating my sandwich. So I was like weighing the pros and cons and just went with disassociate without eating the sandwich.
This is the kind of terrible thought that I have from time to time, because you're talking about eating sandwiches at a funeral. And then my next thought was, because whenever I talk about funerals, it's always something I find interesting and think about. I'm reminded of is in the movie Harold and Maude meet each other because they both have a hobby of just like going to strangers' funerals and just like sitting. And then I was like, what if you did like a Jackass thing where you just like showed up at other people like strangers' funerals, and in the middle of a testimony or something, that's when you eat the hoagie. Like at a complete stranger's funeral, and you got somebody capturing it on camera. But then I was like, that would be a person's funeral, and that would be terrible. And then I felt bad, but I still had to say it.
I do think that going to funerals as a hobby could be a great way to learn how to deal with other people crying. And
Michelle, have you ever seen Harold and Maude?
No, I have no idea what you're talking
Oh
about.
my God, Michelle.
Have you ever seen Harold and Kumar? They get White Castle.
Well, they go to White Castle. I don't know if they got it, but yeah.
I don't remember. I know they went there.
Harold and Maude. It's a slightly, I think it's early 70s.
Oh, so in the bad times before movies were good?
You will love it. It's fucking... Harold is a morbidly obsessed teenager. You know, like I said, he goes to funerals of strangers as a hobby. He has his mom is a rich lady who bought him a nice fancy car, and he had it customized to look like a hearse. Like, it's about this... like sort of almost like a proto-goth kid, right? He's just morbidly obsessed. And then he meets a lady who is a concentration camp survivor.
Oh, wow. So just some lighthearted comedy.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's fucking hilarious. Don't get me wrong. It is, but it's, yeah, I mean, it gets heavy for sure, but it's a good fucking movie.
I want to go to other people's funerals, like people I don't know, and just like spread the craziest stories about that person. Be like, yeah, we met backpacking across Canada. He saved my life. We were in completely separate camps, and I got attacked by a bear, and he came running out with a shotgun, and he didn't even have to use it. He just told the bear, go, get on, get, and he ran away, and then that's how I learned that he could talk to bears.
Also, he loved to eat hoagies.
Loved hoagies. I'm like, yeah, real bear, as I'm like chomping on a sandwich, and they're like, how the fuck?
All right, one more stream of consciousness thing, and then we should probably let people off the hook and go on hiatus for real. But you're just talking about bears. I saw a video. I saw a video on Facebook either earlier today or yesterday sometime of a guy. It's like a ring camera or like a camera on your porch kind of security thing. And there's a guy, and it's nighttime, and he's sitting on his porch outside his little house, and he's sleeping in this chair. He's just conked out like this, dozed off, and a fucking bear just like walks up onto his porch, just starts sniffing around at his face, just kind of investigating like a dog or any other animal would. And the guy wakes up to a giant fucking bear in his face and loses his gut. It's one of the funniest, because the bear is just like, bro, what? Fuck, calm down. Like, the bear doesn't get frazzled at all, but this dude fucking rockets up out of his chair. Oh, God. I'll have to find it and send it to you. It's pretty rad.
You know what I'm going to miss on this hiatus?
What?
When you tell me about movies or videos that you've seen that went slightly viral and how good they were.
It was fucking hilarious. I loved it.
I really like when you just like describe a thing you saw on Facebook.
And then everybody's like, "Oh, that's a cool story, bro. How am I supposed to see it? Because I'm never gonna put a link in the description or anything."
Of course you're not. And you know
go,
what? We could all Google.
We
could Google bear
just
scares
go
guy.
Google bear video. Yeah, just fucking go find it. Be resourceful, for Christ's sake.
I wish that you could Google and get live leak results again, because I bet there were some really good bear videos on there of people
Probably
getting destroyed. Oof. Oh man, now once a week you're not going to be able to tell me about the latest fads online. You're going to have to actually send me the link to the video.
Yeah, that'll be my whole thing.
You could send me a little voice message where you record it and you describe the video, and then 2 days later send me the link. That'd be fun.
Yeah, so seriously, guys, we will be back. I'm glad we got a chance to get this last one out there, because obviously we fucking adore this movie. If you haven't seen it in a theater, why did you let us spoil it for you? Go fucking see it. Buy a ticket, see the movie.
Appreciate the camera work, because holy shit.
It's an incredible piece of craftsmanship. I can't stress that enough. But like, if you've already seen it, fucking go see it again, man. What a great movie that deserves to just keep making more and more and more money. I will say this: if I even hear a fucking whisper about a Good Boy 2, people may die. What I don't want to happen is for this movie to be so successful that somebody says, we need a Good Boy 2. And I just get the feeling from how this movie was made and how great it is that Ben Leonberg would never do that.
Okay, maybe not a Good Boy 2, but
Better
an
Boy?
Air Bud crossover.
Oh, God.
Indy's back, and now he's playing basketball. Oh, shit. Indy learned how to dunk after his owner died.
What a fabulous movie. What a great year we've had for horror movies. Don't know how long this is going to be. It's an indefinite timeline, but we will absolutely be back. And also, don't worry. If you see we've got new episodes, it's not necessarily going to mean the worst happened. Maybe... Look, Mom is, don't assume my mom is dead just because we come back with a new episode is what I'm trying to say.
I'm just thinking that the worst thing that could happen is we drop a new episode and they're like, fuck it, they're back. That's just, don't assume the worst happened, we're back for good.
Right. All right. Well, it's been raining here in my neck of the woods for like the last, it started just as we were starting to record. I'm going to go outside and enjoy the petrichor and hang out. I guess it's not petrichor till it stops raining, but that fresh right after a rain smell that you get when you go outside, that's called petrichor.
I thought that was like a fantasy creature.
No.
The one that's like half a lion.
No, that's a manticore.
Oh.
This is
Okay.
petrichor, and it's spelled completely different. It's spelled like ichor, I-C-H-O-R, like I think it's the Greek word for blood, maybe.
You know, French for orgasm is La Petite de Mort, which means little death.
Well, it's just La Petite Mort, but yeah,
Okay.
the little death.
The sandwich is real good. I should have been eating it when you were upset.
We very clearly just don't want to end this episode and go on hiatus.
I will eat for these people. This is now the mukbang. Enjoy my. This is my own cannibal mukbang. I made.
We
this
watch
sandwich
mukbang.
Well,
Say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle. Real good sandwich. We'll be back.